the bad seeds are now out of Destiny's Child.
I was shocked. I was literally floored. Jonathan.
This is a place between heaven and Hollywood. It's in Hollywood. You haven't really made it until everyone can say your name.
My dream was to be an entertainer.
I was living my dream.
But fame can be fleeting, as former Destiny's Child member LaToya Luckett learned the hard way.
I was like, wow, 7 years down the drain, just like that.
LaToya Luckett is a natural-born performer.
I started singing in church. I went to Brentwood Baptist Church in Houston, Texas, and I just wanted to do what Janet did and what I saw Whitney do.
One day at school, LaToya met a new friend who would forever change her destiny.
I was going to my seat, and I look up, and there's a girl in my seat. I'm like, teacher, somebody's in my seat, whatever. Come to find out, it was Beyonce. You know, I found out that she could sing, she found out that I could sing, and wanted me to come and audition for her father.
Beyonce's dad, Matthew Knowles, invited LaToya to join Girls Time, which later became Destiny's Child. The lineup also included Latavia Robertson and Beyonce's best friend, Kelly Rowland.
The vibe between the four of us was wonderful. When we would have our interviews and we would say that we were sisters, it was very true.
Matthew Knowles managed the group and ran a tight ship.
He was about rehearsing. Rehearse, 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 rehearse.
In 1997, Destiny's Child signed with Columbia Records. The girls' first taste of success came with paperwork attached from Matthew.
The contracts were laid out in front of us. Everybody's excited, ready to sign. And he would pull out his management agreement and say, this has to be signed before you sign this.
You think that it was ludicrous for us to have to sign a contract like right there.
LaToya's mom, Pamela Luckett, wanted the deal to be reviewed by an attorney.
Attorneys can really screw up a lot of stuff.
It became a really bad situation. They were looking at it like, wow, LaToya, you're stopping our deal here. And then, of course, she's looking at me at that age. What are you doing, Mom?
Eventually, the girls signed. Destiny's Child hit the road in support of their debut LP.
They had an autograph signing here in Houston. We get there, the line is wrapped around the corner. They're screaming their names. They roll up in a limo, and Destiny's Child, and they get out, the crowd goes wild. That was the first time I realized she hit it big.
Encouraged by their success, the group quickly returned to the studio and recorded a follow-up album, The Writing's on the Wall. The title proved prophetic.
Matthew got the phone call that Latavia was very sick. And the next day we were going on our European tour. And we were all like, well, what are we gonna do? We can't go. And he was like, well, Janella, the choreographer, can take her place.
I was shocked. I was literally floored. I have 104 fever. I can't leave.
They really didn't understand still the necessary personal sacrifices they had to make to really become great at this.
You know, this is our group member. You can't just replace a group member because she's sick. She's in the hospital.
It makes you feel like, you know, was it worth it? Was it, you know, not?
Latavia missed Destiny's European tour that wrapped up in December 1999. As the money poured in, Latavia and LaToya grew unhappy with their share of the group's huge success.
You look up some days and you're like, okay, I can't pay my cell phone bill. You know, like, that's really crazy. So we had questions.
When Toya was like, well, you know, I want to go get another manager. There's no reason that Beyonce driving a Jaguar right now and my mama still is driving this old Mazda.
What are we gonna do? Do we feel like our voice is gonna be big enough to be able to make an impact?
Latavia and I sent a letter over stating that we just wanted a business manager, someone that could help us, you know, to have better communication with management and with the label.
It showed a lack of trust. And I worked my butt off for all of the girls. So I was disappointed, I felt angry.
I called Beyonce. You could tell that things had been miscommunicated to her.
Our issue was strictly with management, and it had nothing to do with Beyonce and Kelly.
Communication between the girls broke down. The next time Latoya and Latavia saw their own group was on TV. But something was missing.
We were watching BET and we heard world premiere, Say My Name video.
Over the next 4 minutes and 31 seconds, Latavia and Latoya watched two new girls steal their destiny.
They didn't find out until they seen the video with us in the group. Obviously, I have no idea about this. I'm 18 years old, and I'm happy to be a Destiny's Child, and I don't know anyone who would turn down that opportunity.
We were sitting there just in awe. It was like a blank emotion. We're looking at each other like, oh my gosh.
Wow. 7 years down the drain, just like that.
I think that they had to have been devastated.
My self-esteem was very, very low. Beyonce is very talented, and so I was like, well, I'm not sounding like that. That's not my thing, so maybe I can't sing.
In 2000, Destiny's Child had its second major hit with Say My Name. When the video premiered, group members Latoya Luckett and Latavia Robertson found out they had been replaced, and fans were now saying two new names, Michelle Williams and Farrah Franklin.
There was one side that believed that Matthew Knowles was this really intense, controlling, business-minded guy who had driven the two girls out of the group. And there was another side that said that they had already got a little taste of success and wanted to continue on their own.
Beyonce was devastated. These were her sisters. These were her friends. They had spent the last, what, 6, 7 years of their lives together getting to this point. This was not something that she took lightly.
As long as it was Beyonce and Kelly doing the singing, the belief of all of us is that it would make a major difference, and sure enough, it didn't.
Matthew Knowles and Beyonce, that's the root, that's the tree. Don't get it twisted. Everything else is a branch or a leaf.
It was a very, very big story in music because that first Destiny's Child album had been very big, and they probably only became more devastated as time went on because the group just kept becoming more and more successful, and that they were denied all the fruits of their labor.
I was like ecstatic because I get to be a Destiny's Child, I know all the songs. It was like a dream.
But 5 short months after Farrah joined the group, her dream was over.
I felt like I was losing my identity and I was not being treated as you would personally want someone treating your daughter if the tables were switched around. And I just couldn't, handle the situation anymore. I had to leave.
All of the bad seeds are now out of Destiny's Child. We've had changes in the group, and we finally found the recipe that is perfect.
Meanwhile, in March of 2000, Latoya and Latavia filed suit against their former bandmates Kelly and Beyonce, as well as Matthew Knowles and the Sony music label. But once the suit was settled, the girls tried to focus on the future.
I'm a go-getter. I don't give up easily.
In 2004, Latoya auditioned for Capitol Records, and the label offered her a deal immediately.
They love my music. They said it was something different.
I was like, oh, she could sing. What I really liked about it was it wasn't really a Destiny Child kind of sound. It was more urban. It was more her.
Latoya released her self-titled album in July 2006. It shot straight to the top of the charts.
Once I found out I was #1, I think that's when it hit, and I felt like all the hard work paid off. Like I was finally there.
Since leaving Destiny's Child, Latavia and Farrah also began working on solo careers. Now, Destiny's exes can each look back with a fresh perspective.
I don't think that I was at a point in my life to where I could really grasp that everything is not what it seems.
Missing the friendships, that was the hardest thing. It was the death of a friendship.
I do believe that there comes a point in your life where you're doing things that you wouldn't do normally, and you're not who you are, and there's such a thing as selling your soul for fame.
You ain't got to get too sentimental. Life goes on. This music thing, man, cats got to just understand this changes are inevitable, and sometimes they're for the better.